Hello everyone, Dovault here and welcome back to the channel and another review. The second review in our Giant Legion Devastator series. Today we'll be looking at Giant Legion GLA01 Loader and O2 Mixer, aka not Scrapper, not Mixmaster. But before we do that, let's take a quick look at the packaging. We got some really cool shots of them showing off some of the poses they can do. Giant Legion logo on the side, and of course your obligatory vehicle mode product shots. Very nicely well packaged, and so far I am having a blast with these guys. Now before we get into the unboxing and the review, the same caveat as my previous set, they are panel lined. I did that myself as I've had these a while before I reviewed them. So hopefully that actually helps show some of the detail here in the review. But anywho, now that we've seen the packaging, let's get right into it. Alright, now let's get to the unboxing of this guy. Same as last time, you're going to open up one side, doesn't really matter which one, whichever one you cut first. Slide out the foam insert. Then, just move the top here, and what you get in your little box here is first, you'll get your nice little instruction booklet, as I've shown before, fully colored, very easy to follow, but we don't need that today. And then here you go, the figures in all of their glory, nicely packed. You'll also get the little Ziploc baggies with the weapons and accessories, which I now have stored inside of them, as well as the battery compartments and the batteries for the light up eye features, which are exactly the same as the previous. So first, let's pull out Scrapper. Take a quick look at him. We'll take a more detailed look in just a moment. There he is. Set him off to the side. And then your Mixmaster. Very nicely packaged, very nicely done. All right. Now let's get into these figures proper. Let me get this box junk out of the way and we'll get right to it. All right, so here we have both Mixmaster and Scrapper in their vehicle modes. We'll take a look at Mixmaster first. Very well detailed, more of a traditional cab design over some of the more abstract designs we've seen before. Nice metallic silver, lots of paint decals, and because of my panel line, you can see all the detailing here on the door and all of these panels. Very nice drum, although it doesn't spin, it is fixed, but that's true of most of these. All the wheels are pinned on and roll very nicely. Nice little spout. I wish there was a little more detail on the back, but that should be a relatively easy fix, actually. And then on the underside, very clean, nice integrated weapon storage, which you cannot say about most things. Yeah, this is a very nicely, well-detailed figure. Alright, let's put him off to the side and then check out his brother here. Here you have Scrapper in all his glory, just as nicely detailed as his brother over there. Nice clean backside. Pinned on wheels, also rubber. Actually, all of these figures that have wheels are rubber, so they roll very nicely. As for this guy, he has, oh wait, let's check out the bottom side first. Super clean, stupid clean, actually. Now, as I was saying, for articulation, this guy does have some. The front bucket can move up and down. The arm itself can move up on double hinges, so it can go pretty far back, and it's very well articulated. Oops. That was my bad. I squeezed. Okay, don't squeeze. I have learned this now. Do not squeeze the legs together. But yeah, they go right back into position pretty nice and easy. But yeah, that's it for those two's vehicle mode details. Now let's do some quick size comparisons. I don't have too much in the way of vehicles on hand. I have a lot of figures and not as much time to transform them. Let's see. Here we got with our recently reviewed Megatronus Prime. He is actually almost exactly the same size as them. Let me get that at a different angle. Yeah, he is about exactly the same size as them. I really need to get more vehicle modes for size comparison. Now here's our big guy here. We're gonna start using as our standard because I know he is just about a foot long. Our Dark Warrior here. He is almost the length of both of these guys. So these guys are pretty sizable. They're about almost exactly 6 inches here in vehicle mode. Maybe a little bit longer. Pretty good size comparison. Now, I don't have any other vehicles to compare them with, but I can pull up some of our robots here, whose scale we are familiar with. The usual Gamer Edition Prime. So their vehicle modes are about as tall as he is. Here he is to the little core class movie Scorponok, the one that comes with Blackout. Look at how tiny he is. That's precious. And heck, while I'm at it, I'll pull out something new that we will see in a future review. Here he is now next to a 1/60th scale Macross DX Fighter. I absolutely... Man, this thing does not fit in frame. So here he is on top of our boy here. Pretty good size considering this is a 1/60th scale model figure. Alright, and there you have our two buddies here in their vehicle modes. Now let's get to transformation. Alright, now as for the transformation into the robot modes, these guys are the easiest and most fun out of the bunch. We're gonna start with Mixmaster. And also, these guys have integrated weapon storage. Speaking of, I forgot to put his back in. Give me just a second. Alright. So, on this guy, he has integrated weapon storage on the underside. We'll get to that in just a second. But, to get him into this robot mode, first you want to do is take these tanks on the side, and you're gonna flip them up, you're gonna pull them out, flip them up, and they're gonna kind of loosely lock in above the wheels. Do the same thing on this side, so you're gonna grab it, pull it out on this little sliding joint, rotate it around, tab it into place, okay? Then, what you're gonna do, that's gonna free up the legs, so you're going to start pulling this out on this double hinge. You can go ahead and straighten it out. We'll come back to this later. Actually, let's do it now, because this guy has some of the coolest engineering on his legs. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna split this down the middle, and then, oh, and that's gonna pop out the gun. I forgot. It pegs in right here. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take these on their slider joints and push them in, and they're going to lock into place. Same thing on this side. Pop it into place. Then, now this is the coolest bit of engineering here. You're going to flip out the... oh, hold on, let me zoom in. Flip out the foot. Flip out the heel. Luckily there's a little tab, you can get your finger on there. Then, you're going to push this out of the way, and this is just going to flip in, snap into place, and then you put this down to lock it into place. And that is 1 foot done. Now do the same thing on the other side. Flip out. Flip out. Flip up, flip in, flip back down. And boom. There are your legs. That is some really cool engineering, and there's some versions of Optimus Prime that use this cab design that I wish did this. Okay, now for the upper body, what you're going to do is you're going to rotate this all the way around, like that. Then you're going to lift up. Sorry, trying not to bump the camera here. You're going to lift up the drum. Then, you're going to take these two halves, and you're going to go ahead and split them, and they will slide up on a, if you can see it here, a double hinge, which will also fill out the shoulder. There we go. Now you can see it. Then you can flip out the hand, bend the elbow, and that's one side done. Do the same thing on the other side. So, double hinge, rotate arm down, pop out the fist, bend the elbow, and that is both arms done. Then all you gotta do is flip down the chest piece, and that's gonna tab into that tab you saw there on the waist. Oop. And there you go. There you have... Oh wait, one more step. Try to get this on camera. Let me angle the camera up. There we go. Then you're just going to tab the backpack into the back, and that's gonna fill up the gaps and get everything all nice and tidy. So for Scrapper, he's a little more complex out of the two, but still quite a bit of fun. So first, what I recommend doing is the legs. So you're gonna take these front wheels here, you're gonna pop them out and swing them aside. Same thing on the other side. Then you're going to split the bucket, split the tractor arms here, and you see this metal piece here that was tabbed into these two holes. You're gonna fold that down to form, camera, please focus, the back of the crotch. Then you can straighten out the legs, or what will become the legs. Same thing on the other side. Then what you're gonna do is take the bucket here, you're gonna rotate it around 180, take this panel here, flip it out, and this little notch here is going to tab into that little port there. And that's gonna fill out the side of the foot. Same thing on the other side. Second verse just like the first, as Emgo would say. Flip that out, tab it in here, and boom, you got your legs with your bucket feet, which is unique to this version of the toy, or the figure, I mean. Alright, then you're gonna lift up the cab, pull up this part of the engine, which is gonna reveal your fists. You can go ahead and flip both of those out. They're on a hinge right here in the arm. Pretty cool how they did that. Then you're gonna take this section here and split it down the middle. Sometimes it's easier to split it from the arms. There we go. Split that out, slide these aside, and you see that there? That is the combined moan hand. And Mixmaster, it's in his drum. That's a tool we're gonna use later. Alright, but I recommend going ahead and folding it out for now so you can get access to the integrated weapon storage. His gun is in here. Sometimes it's easier to get out, but it just pops out. It's pegged in into that hole there. Alright. Then you're going to... Man, it's really hard to get this guy on camera because he's tall compared to my camera setup. You're going to flip down the fist back into the chest, and then this whole section's going to move down. Then, from here, you're going to fish out the head, which can be a little tough sometimes to get your finger onto something you can pull on. You're going to pull the head out of the cab, and then the cab is going to move up on this hinge here, this double hinge, and tab into the back. And then lastly, at the bottom of the neck here, it's going to tab into the back of where the fist was. Oop. And there you have his noggin locked in place. And then the final touch on both sides is to rotate this section here so that it tabs down like that. Flip the arm forward. Rotate it at the elbow. And there's one arm done. Second verse, just like the first. Flip that down. Rotate the arm around. And then, lastly, flip the waist around. And boom. There you have Scrapper done. Alright, now we got these two guys in robot mode, but we have some finishing touches to do. First, you take his little blaster. It can peg in. Mixmaster's blaster can plug into either hand. Fits nicely right there. Now, as for him, you're going to take his gun, fold out its twin barrels. And on my copy, for some reason, this gun will only go into... Oh, I dropped it! No! His gun will only go into his left hand for some reason. It seems that the tolerances on my copy on this one fist was just a little too tight. Boom. And there you go. They are all done. Now these two have the exact same gimmick as the previous set I reviewed, in which if you take one of the guns that has a magnet in it, I'm going to use Scrapper's gun, you can actually turn the lights on their heads on, which is really nice. Now, as for robot mode size comparisons, they are exactly the same as the other two I reviewed previously, but let me bring in a couple different size figures here. Here they are with Gamer Prime. Here they are with Leader Movie Scourge. A little bit taller than them. Here they are with a little core class Mohawk. He is tiny compared to them. Here he is with movie masterpiece Blackout. If I can get him over there. There he is. They're actually just about the same size as him. Here he is with Diaclone Dia Guardian, which is about deluxe scale. So they're about twice the height of a deluxe. And lastly, here they are compared to the size of the foot modes of the other two members we've reviewed so far. So it looks like this guy's gonna be pretty big when he's done. Alright. Now, as for individual details, let's take a look at Mixmaster first. He has an immaculately nicely words work. He has an immaculately detailed chest. I like this little hint of gold here and this grading here. Head sculpt is very cool. Seems to actually be, let me adjust the camera. Seems to actually be inspired by the Decepticon logo just a little bit. Oh, I forgot to fold that up. I love the panel lining, transfers over from the vehicle mode. Nice clean back legs and a very clean backpack. Looks like he's got an actual usable mixing drum for mixing up his horrible concoctions, as I believe Mixmaster's supposed to be a chemist. Alright, now as for his brother here, he's the only one version of this figure I've seen that uses the buckets as the feet, so he stands nice and sturdy. He's got a nice G1 inspired head sculpt, nicely detailed chest, and of course all the vehicle mode detailing carries over. Let me adjust my camera here, guys. That's much better. My camera was way too close. Now for articulation, they're both pretty much the same. He has wrist rotation, but a little bit limited to one direction. A elbow slightly past 90. Shoulders can do a full 360 that way, go up about that far. Both sides, the head is all a ball joint. Every ball joint can be a swivel. He cannot do a full 360 though. His own jaw gets in the way. He can't really look up too much, but he can look down a little. As for... he does have an ab crunch, which is nice due to the transformation. He has these two side skirts that can move up and down. He does have a thigh swivel. He can go forward that far and back that far. His knees, being double jointed, can move way past 90. They can almost do a full 180. He has an ankle swivel, an ankle tilt inward, and a toe front and back. I'll get back to him in a sec. As for his brother here, he can look up. He can look up more if you unpeg the back. He can look down a little bit. He can tilt his head side to side, you know, full 360 on the head. He can look down a little bit. Shoulders can go all the way around 360 and up about that far. His elbow can go slightly past 90. No wrist rotation on him though, just by the nature of the transformation. He has a waist twist swivel. He technically has no ab crunch, but if you mistransform it and flip this around, you can give him one. He has the same thigh swivel. He has an over 90-degree bend at the knee. You can go much further if you do it at the right angle because of those double joints. He has no ankle rotation, but he does have ankle tilt and a toe back and a toe forward and a heel tilt. So pretty good posability on both of these guys. Stand up, you loser. All right. So I am loving these guys. Now, lastly, we need to get them into their combined modes, which is very interesting. But to do that, it's easier to start in vehicle mode. So I'm going to do that real quick. Bloop. Alright guys, now that I got these guys back into their vehicle modes, I can show you how easy it is to get these guys into their combined modes. Speaking of, everything is integrated into these transformations, so there's no parts forming, just as I mentioned in the previous video. So we're going to start here with Mixmaster. So, what you want to do is, see this little scoop here? You're going to fold that up like you would if you were going back to robot mode. You're going to take the drum here. You're going to rotate it around. Then, what you're going to do is take the tanks on the side here and fold them up as if you were putting them back into robot mode. And that's going to free up what is now going to be your elbow joint. So you're going to flip it all the way around so that this is now facing the purple side, and you can go ahead and bend that to get it out of the way. And then you're going to turn the top this way because this is going to be his right shoulder. And here's the combiner port. You can go ahead and fold that out just so you can slide it on to the final component once we get there. And then the last step, also I should mention, remove the weapon if you haven't already. You can just split the front here and the weapon will slide right out, and set that off to the side. Then you're going to open up this drum, and that's going to show you the hand, which is super nicely stored away. Fold it out, close the drum, and it shall tab into place on both sides. Sometimes it's a little tough to get that in there. There we go. Sorry. And then these two tabs here are going to lock into these two slots here on the back of what would be the robot mode hands. Oop. Then you can just position the hand how you want, and there you have Mixmaster as an arm. Very interesting take. I really like it. Really cool way to do this. Also, oops, the ladder fell off. Speaking of, this comes in a separate baggie with the figure, so you do have to attach it when you get the figure. That's just attached right there. Alright, now let's work on his brother over here. Hopefully keeping everything in frame. This is actually my third take for this. Alright, so for him, you actually can go ahead and do the hand part first. It doesn't really matter because this guy has the simplest of the two. But you can go ahead and flip out this combiner joint. And then you can just go ahead and rotate this so you can bend that elbow. And I recommend pushing this all the way down and then tilting it back to kind of give it a locked in position. Now for the fist, with this one, all you're going to do is open it up like you were going back to robot mode. Pull out the arms so that you can actually split this apart just like you would if you're going to robot mode. Flip out the fist, which I mentioned earlier in the video. And then if you haven't already, you can remove, focus. Remove the gun. I'm going to do that off camera super quick because it's kind of hard to get your finger in there. They made that a very strong connection. Alright. Once you get the gun out and you have the fist completely flipped out, you can go ahead and fold these back in as if you were going back to vehicle mode again. Make sure that these tabs line up and push that in. Do the same thing on this other side. Tab it in, tab it in. And then you can go ahead and fold these arms back in. Like that. Close the cockpit. And boom. Here is the other arm. You can kind of see how that's going to end up looking on the main figure. Really nice, interesting take on these two guys. And I'm looking forward to showing you that combined mode, but we have 2 more to review. Speaking of, I might show a little fan mode at the end of the next video before we get to the combiner video in part 4. Alright, so far, this is looking up to be an amazing figure. Well guys, this has been my review of Giant Legion GLA-01 Loader and O2 Mixer, aka not Scrapper and not Mixmaster. And I gotta say, I absolutely love this set. This is my favorite to transform out of the group due to their simplicity, and are actually some of the simplest transformations I've seen for third-party Devastator clones. Or not Devastators, just in case. And at a price point of about $88 or so, at Masterpiece scale, these guys are about half the price, scale-wise, compared to the official Hasbro counterpart, which will be about half the size as well. So it's definitely worth picking these up if you can still track them down. However, they do get refreshes pretty often on sites like ShowZ Store. There's also a box set coming up, which I will talk about whenever it comes in. I did pre-order it. Anyway guys, if you enjoyed this review, please like, subscribe, share the video, hit the bell notification icon to know when I post new reviews, and check out my other main gaming channel. That channel is dedicated to open world RPGs, fantasy action RPGs, and Souls-likes, among many other things. I tend to throw in a little bit whenever I can. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next review. Dovalt out. Bye bye!